Alejandro picks up the ball and finds Marcus Rashford in the space. He plays an unbelievable ball to Rashford in the space, and then Rashford turns, goes past two players, and smashes it in the back of the net. United go 1-0 up. Garnacho then responds to Rashford playing a ball through with fast instincts and a good finish for Garnacho's first goal of the match. Garnacho then gets his second goal of the match, running in behind after a very good ball from Eriksen. And what a finish as well. I had a lot of time to think about that as well. And then he doesn't stop there. He picks up the ball after Barnsley give it away. He holds up the ball a second. He sees Rashford making a run. He plays Rashford into the space and he comes out with 2 goals and assists. But it wasn't just that. Alejandro Garnacho was having a fantastic game. He was constantly running in behind, making things happen, playing in dangerous balls, and he's probably been like that every game this season bar the Liverpool game. He comes off the bench, he seems to score, assist, make an impact, or even if he doesn't get a goal or assist, like Brighton, the goal was ruled out, he seems to constantly make this impact. You can see Garnacho playing a really good ball into Eriksen here as well, and he was phenomenal. So hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and I'm going to break down 5 things we learned as Manchester United beat Barnsley 7-0. And I want this video to start off and focus on Alejandro Garnacho and his performance and just how good he was. Because, look, I know it's Barnsley. I know they're a League One side. I know under 21s beat them, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And there's been times where United have gone to League One sides in the Carabao Cup and won 1-0 or 2-1 or 1-1 and taken it to penalties. There's been times where we struggled. MK Dons, there has been times, when was the last time United won a game 7-0? Well, that was 27 years ago when we last played Barnsley. This is our second biggest win of the post-Fergie era. So we've got to enjoy it, take it in. You're not going to see 7 goals often. And today's game was more about the confidence it's going to give the players. Minutes in the players, like the confidence it's going to give them, the patterns of play to see, look, the system isn't that bad. We can play some good football. We've now just got to apply it to a harder opposition. 10 goals, 0 goal conceded in our last 2 games. It's the confidence they'll take from that, because I don't think United were bad versus Brighton. We just lost the Brighton game through not staying on side and being silly in defence. But I felt that United's confidence was shot, that when we do go 1-0 down, we look like a poor side. I think the minute we scored versus Southampton, we played so much better because we got that confidence. And today we started playing with confidence and got better. And I think it is a bit of a confidence side. Now, one player that I think can be a bit of a confidence player, not as much as Rashford, is Garnacho. And I think he started the season incredibly. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. He created 3 chances, 3 ball recoveries, 8 touches in the opposition box. But he was running in behind, causing issues. He was so dangerous. And I think that is because Erik ten Hag is managing Garnacho's minutes incredibly well. Garnacho so far this season has 7 goals and assists in just 2 starts for United. Also got an assist off the bench for Argentina, so it's 8 goal contributions this season. He's developed physically. You can see that he's holding off players a lot better. You can see how last season, how much he developed mentally. I remember in his first season, Ten Hag's first season, he was late for a meeting on tour and then we didn't see him for a little bit. And you could see his mentality develop a year ago, how he was starting 34 games in a row and giving 100% and never stopped running. You can now see sort of physical developments in him. But I think we're starting to see that output. Look, I know it's only Barnsley and Southampton and stuff, but you just look at how he's been. You look at the fact that he should have got an assist and Rashford missed a really good opportunity in the Community Shield. He could have got an assist. You look at the fact he missed an open goal versus Fulham. He was in the right area. And you look at the fact that his fair goal was pretty much ruled out versus Brighton. Well, it wasn't a fair goal, so he was there. He could generally be on 10 goal contributions this season if Rashford had put it away, he'd put it away versus Fulham, and his Brighton goal would have counted in 2 starts. It seems that whenever he comes on, he looks like he's going to contribute to a goal or assist or make something happen. And I think last year we saw how good Garnacho could be, but then he had to start 34 games in a row, constantly play 90 minutes because of injury in the forms of other players. But you could see that Garnacho had been ran into the ground and he wasn't as fresh. And then you see Garnacho when he comes off the bench, how fresh he is. You see Garnacho now his minutes are being managed properly, how fresh he is, how impactful he is. And I think having Amad Diallo come in on the right-hand side and Amad Diallo be such a good player for United. I think Amad Diallo has that right-hand side lockdown and Rashford's playing with confidence on the left. That means that, there's a situation where Garnacho is on the bench, but then we'll start certain games with Amad and start certain games with Rashford. And I think it's good to have 3 wingers rotate in those 2 roles because we need a rest of the winger time to time manage their minutes. If you're constantly playing the same wingers, they're going to be knackered. And I think you could see how impactful he was, how direct he was. Whenever he got the ball, he was like a burst of energy, making things happen. And I think Garnacho this season has been electric because of how well his minutes have been managed. I also want to talk about Rashford. I think Rashford is the biggest confidence player. The minute he got that goal versus Southampton, he's just been a different player for United, taking on his players, having shots. I thought he actually looked all right in pre-season, if I was going to be honest, but then didn't look at it in the Fulham Brighton game. I actually thought versus Liverpool he was our most threatening attacker, could have got 2 assists. But Rashford, since that goal versus Southampton, seems to have woken up, and 2 goals today. And I think the first goal Rashford scored, the way he took it, dribbled past 2 players and smashed it in the back of the net, that is a vintage Rashford goal. That is what you want to see. And today he got 2 goals and assists, and they were the 2 goals and assists to really open up the game. He also played the ball into Anthony that won the penalty. 5 dribbles, 30 touches, but he was getting the ball, he was looking to dribble, he was playing the right passes, he was having the shots, he was playing with that confidence. And when Marcus Rashford plays well, when Marcus Rashford plays confidence, he's a different player. He's now got, I think, 4 or 5 goal contributions now this season. Obviously, it is stat padding against Barnsley. I know what you mean, but the confidence and Rashford, you put those two together and it's just a different player. And he's also scored 151 career goals tonight, which is absolutely insane. There's 76 assists just at the age of 26 in United's worst ever era. So, I know Rashford can be hot and cold, good and bad and inconsistent, but let's not take away actually how much he's done for this club as a player. You look at his game numbers versus Barnsley, 2 goals and assists, but it was the ball recoveries, the take-ons, the passes into the final third, the shots, He had 0 shots in his opening 3 games for United. He's now had 6 shots in his last 2 games, putting away 3 goals, getting the assist, playing with confidence, taking on his man. And that's exactly what you want to see as well. And I tweeted this. The Garnacho-Rashford link-up, exploiting space in behind, has been Chico for Man United today. The confidence they're playing with and the runs off each other have been beautiful. Rashford has 2 goals and assists, while Garnacho has 2 goals and 2 assists. Things you love to see. What a ball from Garnacho, but that was a proper Rashford goal. And that Rashford goal, that first one was a proper Marcus Rashford goal. The third thing we learned is Eriksen is a number 10 in slow games. I've always said Eriksen's a 10, not an 8. You can play Eriksen as an 8. You can do a job. But his best role is a 10. And the best way we can use Eriksen is when we need to rest Bruno and it's going to be a game that's going to be slow. We know we're going to dictate the ball. We know we're going to have a lot of possession. And that's when you can use Eriksen. That's when Mata would thrive towards the end of his United career. We'd stick him out on the right wing. Mata weren't great. You put Mata in the 10 role as a different player. Eriksen is a 10. And Eriksen on the ball is brilliant. It's just off the ball. He doesn't have what we need to play in the pivot in the Premier League week in, week out. You play a side that is not going to have much of the ball, you're going to dominate possession against like an Everton. Eriksen as a 10 versus Everton, it would work really well. Eriksen as an 8 versus Manchester City, he's going to get torn apart. Christian Eriksen is a good player. I really like Christian Eriksen. Phenomenal game today, but we used him right. And he is a 10. He can play as an 8, but he is a 10, and we saw that. But Bruno's the main 10. But if we use him in the smaller games as a 10, we're using him right. I wanted to just give a shout out to the fourth thing we learned, Diego Dalot. Thought he was very solid. I know that he struggled that first half versus Southampton, but then he had a very good second half. He looked a lot stronger on the right. But what I like about Dalot is how he can go into midfield, pick up the ball, make things happen. He was looking to get forward. I think he's just been solid and consistent. And I thought Dalot put in the shift. I thought Casemiro and Agate also had a quietly good game together. I think Agate gave Casemiro the license to play a bit further up, so you didn't see Casemiro get exploited and all of that as well. And I thought that was a good game for the midfield. We held them down. Obviously, look, it's Barnsley, but we're just trying to be positive. And then obviously the fifth and final thing that was showed was definitely for me the depth. I think Wheatley should have come on, to be honest. But I think Ten Hag just knew that this team needed confidence and was going for it and wanted a big scoreline, and that's fair enough. But Amad Diallo, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Bruno, and Xerxes coming off the bench. I mean, Bruno comes off the bench, and in 28 minutes, I think he creates 7 chances and gets 2 assists. De Ligt and Mazraoui, Xerxes just getting a few minutes in their legs. Amad comes on. I think Bruno almost got an assist on Amad as well. He just took a big touch. But to have those 5 players come off the bench when you're already 5-0 up, I think is a great sign as well, to show that, look, when everyone's fit, we do have decent depth. You've got Amad, Garnacho and Rashford, 3 good options on the wing. You've got Højlund and Xerxes, 3 good options at striker. If you don't have Bruno, Mount and Eriksen can do a job in the 10 role, but Bruno's just Bruno, isn't he? Cobby we didn't have to bring on today because Eriksen can do a job and Agate and Casemiro can play together. I think there is decent depth. The lower Mazraoui, but you've got Luke Shaw to come back in as well, who we know is a good player. I think the depth there at United and Euro as well is exciting to see. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below, but that is 5 things we learned as Manchester United outclassed Barnsley, particularly talking about Garnacho. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. See you next time. Bye.